Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful stories ever told. It's a story of incredible contrast. The difference between what looked like total silence and what was actually an unimaginable power just waiting for the right moment. Our story starts in a place known by one heavy name, Golgotha. And this wasn't just some hill. On this day, it was a hill of death, a stage for absolute mockery, a moment where it seems like all of heaven had just gone completely silent. And that's exactly where we have to begin, with what looked like heaven's silence. Because what people saw on the ground was, well, nothing. A confusing, shocking lack of action from above. So let's really picture this scene. This wasn't some quiet, dignified event. Oh no, it was a public spectacle. You had Roman guards, just drunk on their own power, gambling for his clothes at his feet. They had no clue what was really happening. They just laughed. And in the middle of all that noise, they yell out a challenge, "Call your angels! Let them save you!" The irony here is just staggering. They're being sarcastic, of course, but they have no earthly idea how real and how terrifyingly close those angels actually were. Because behind all the mockery and the suffering that everyone could see, there was this whole other reality, completely invisible. And that brings us to the warriors who were waiting. And here's the absolute truth of the matter. Heaven wasn't gone. It wasn't looking away. No, they were there, ranks upon ranks of them, warriors of fire and light. A whole army of heaven was there, watching, held in place by a single divine order to wait. And they weren't just watching from a distance. They saw every single agonizing detail. They saw the nails. They felt the fleshed hair. They heard his breath getting weaker and weaker. Can you just imagine seeing that, having all that power, and being told, do not move? That's what's so mind-blowing about this moment. After seeing it all, hearing the taunts, they still did not move. That incredible restraint, that stillness, in a way, it's the loudest part of the whole story. So why, right? Why hold back all of that power? And that question gets us to the very heart of the matter, the profound reason they waited, the purpose of their restraint. And this is the key difference right here. They weren't still because they were powerless, not even close. They were still because they were obedient. It was an act of perfect submission to a much, much bigger plan. And what was that bigger plan? Well, this moment was never about a show of force. It was about something infinitely greater. It was about sacrifice. It was about ancient prophecies coming true. And ultimately, it was about love choosing the cross over calling down a legion of angels. So they held their ground. They watched. And they waited. But this story was a long way from being over. Because, as we're told with this incredible foreshadowing, their turn was coming. And for 3 days, there was nothing. Just silence, darkness. It felt like hope itself was buried behind that big, heavy stone. But then, this shift happens. The waiting period is officially over. And this brings us to the massive turning point of the entire story, the command to move. This is the moment all that tension just shatters. Heaven was not silent anymore. A command was finally given. And with that one command, all of that pent-up, restrained, divine power was at long last unleashed. So what happens when that command is finally given? What does it actually look like when heaven stops waiting and starts acting? Well, let's look at the explosive results. The revelation at the tomb. The action is just immediate. It's overwhelming. First, this brilliant light rips through the dawn. Then, angels come down. Not quietly, but with total authority. The ground literally shakes. That huge stone meant to seal the tomb, it's tossed aside like a pebble. And those guards, the ones who were so tough before, they just collapse in sheer terror. I mean, talk about a dramatic shift. We've gone from the hour of restraint, which was all about mockery and silence and waiting, to the hour of revelation. And this new hour,
why do you find the living among the dead?
The two could not be more different. And what was the final result of all this unleashed power? It was simple, it was absolute, and it changed the world forever. The tomb was empty. Death itself had been defeated. So, what's the big takeaway from this incredible story? Well, that brings us to our final and maybe most important point. It's a lesson in how we see things. Silence is not absence. This right here is the heart of it all. That silence you saw at the cross, it wasn't absence. And that incredible restraint shown by the angels, it wasn't weakness. It was power, under perfect control, waiting for the perfect moment. And when you understand that, it leaves you with this really fascinating, kind of haunting question, doesn't it? So be careful how you speak of angels. It makes you think, what we can't see might just be more real than what we can. Because the ultimate lesson here is about timing and authority. They are always listening. They are always waiting. And the unshakable truth of it all is this: when heaven speaks, they move.
Silence is not absence. Friday saw the sacrifice, but Sunday saw the stamp. God stamped his authority on Sunday, and the sound of that victory is the loudest thing the universe has ever known.